All right, we're on the last lesson of Unit 7 here, our last learning target 8, putting everything from this entire unit, putting it all together into our last learning target. So, pages 43 through 46. Go ahead and turn to page 43 then. So our learning target for this lesson is I can convert equations between all three forms that we have learned. That would be slope-intercept form, the point-slope form, and the standard form. So we're going to be able to convert. We're going to take one problem and we're going to rewrite it in all three forms. And keep in mind, all three forms are related to each other, okay? So what I'd like you to do, if you could pause this video and see if you can fill out from memory or looking back at your notes what the slope formula is, what the slope-intercept form is, what the point-slope form is, and the standard form. And then unpause this and check back to see if you have all four forms correct. Okay, so pause really quick. All right, let's take a look if you got them correct. Slope formula should have m equals y1 minus y2 divided by x1 minus x2. Your slope-intercept form is your y equals mx plus b. Your point-slope form is your y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And your standard form is the one that we had learned the previous lesson, which is ax plus by equals c, which is basically, remember, just getting the x and y on the same side of the equal sign. Okay, so what we're going to do here is you have a few examples of lines that I'd like you to, we're going to take the problem and we're going to rewrite that problem in three different forms: slope-intercept, point-slope, and standard. Now the easiest sequence to do this in is just what we did in the previous lesson. Okay, so go ahead and write this down so you know the easiest way to approach this is. Your first step is to find the slope. Then your second step is the easiest form to start with is point-slope. And then you're going to convert it to slope-intercept. And then you're going to convert it to standard form. And then in the end, you can check to see, and you can check along the way too, you can check your standard form to see if you had rewritten it all correctly by the end. So this is going to be the easiest sequence of order that you're going to do to be able to get all three forms down, okay? So you're going to notice we have a few problems. What you see here is we don't have notes. We're just practicing what we've been doing here for the last so many weeks here. I'm going to do two problems with you in this video, and then what you're going to do is the rest of the time is for you to work through the rest of the problems, ask any questions, check back with your answers online. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do number 2, and we're going to, again, follow this sequence right here. Okay, so I'm just going to have this sitting right here so you can see what sequence I'm following. So, step 1 here. Let's find the slope. Well, it's already on a graph, so it's really easy just to count slope. If you're comfortable with the slope formula, you can use the slope formula. So my step 1, I'm just going to do over here, my slope here. It looks like it's rise 5 and backwards 1. So rise 5, and then it went back 1. So my slope is actually a -5. Okay? Step 2. Let's do point-slope then. So pick the easiest ordered pair that you see. I'm going to choose the ordered pair 0, 5, and I have the slope of -5. So there's my point and my slope. So this is step 2. Point slope, we're going to do y minus my actual y that I'm choosing, which is 5, equals m, and then times x minus my actual x, which is a 0. So there's my point slope form. Okay, step 3. Let's go ahead and convert it into slope-intercept form. So this is where we're going to undo the parentheses and get the y by itself. So I'm going to go ahead and do -5 times x, which is -5x. -5 times 0 is just 0. So we could just put plus 0 here. It doesn't really do us any good, but that's okay. And over here we still have y minus 5. Let's get this -5 to the other side. So I'm going to add 5, add 5. We're going to end up with y equals -5x plus 5. And there's our slope-intercept form. Y equals -5x plus 5. And you can check to make sure that you did this correctly. If I plug in my 0 into my x, it should equal y for the 5. -5 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 5 does equal 5. So you know you're good. You could check 1 as your x. It should equal 0. -5 times 1 is -5. Negative 5 plus 5 does equal 0. Okay? Fourth step, let's go ahead and continue here, and let's rewrite this in standard form. Standard form basically meaning let's get the x and y on the same side of the equal sign. So let's move this negative 5x, let's move it to the same side as the y. So I'm going to undo this negative 5x. I'm going to add 5x to both sides. So that cancels out. The 5 drops down, it's positive, and I'm going to end up with y plus 5x. Okay, and there's your standard form. That would be your step 4 that we just completed here. Okay, and step 5 is your check. Let's make sure it actually works. Okay, if I check my 2 ordered pairs that came from my graph into my standard form, in the end, they should all work. So if I check the point 0, 5, if I put in a 0 in for the x and a 5 in for the y, okay, it should equal 5. 5 plus 5 times 0, so 5 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 5 does equal 5. So that one checks. Let's check 1, 0. So if I put a 1 in for the x, a 0 in for the y, 5 times 1 is 5, and 5 plus this 0 does equal 5. So both of these ordered pairs check. We have just rewritten this in 3 different forms, which is our learning target. We are rewriting equations, converting our equations between all 3 forms. Form 1 is point slope, form 2 is slope intercept, form 3 is standard form. Okay? And what you can do, this is your work. It shows all the steps. If you really, really want to, you can go ahead and write the arrows to where they fit. They're not quite in order. So standard form, this equation goes in that part. This is slope intercept, so this would go here. And our point slope is this equation right here. Okay? So all 3 of these equations represent this one exact line, the same exact line here, just in 3 different forms. Let's try one more. I'm going to have you flip to page 44. We're going to do number 5 here. So again, I'm still going to follow the same sequence here. So I'm going to copy. Let's go ahead and paste there, and let's go ahead and try number 5. Okay? Number 5, we have 2 ordered pairs that create a line, and we're going to rewrite an equation in the 3 different forms that represent the line that goes to these 2 ordered pairs. So let's start with our slope then. Well, there's no graph, so we can't count rise over run, so we have to depend on our slope formula. So let's go ahead and calculate slope. y1 minus y2. 5 minus 2, x minus x, 4 minus 8. We're going to get 3 over negative 4. So our slope here is 3 over negative 4. Negative 3/4 here. Step 2. Let's start with point slope. So pick the ordered pair of your choice here. The one that seems easiest to you. I'm going to pick the ordered pair 4, 5. And I'm going to use a slope, obviously, negative 3/4. Okay, so our second step is point slope. So y minus my y that I chose, which is a 5, equals my m, which is negative 3/4, parentheses, x minus my actual x, which is a 4. Okay, 1 form down, 2 to go. Third one, let's go ahead and rewrite this in slope intercept form. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and stop, chop, chop here. Let's go ahead and distribute. Negative 3/4 times x is negative 3/4 times x, plus negative 3/4 times negative 4. I know it's going to be positive because a negative times negative is positive. And that's going to equal, let's take a look. Let's do some work off to the side here. Times negative 4 over 1. 3 times 4 is 12. Whoops. And 4 times 1 is 4. 12 over 4 is 3. So I know this is a positive 3 because a negative times a negative is a positive. Okay, over here is y minus 5. Let's undo this minus 5 by adding 5. And we're going to get y equals negative 3/4 x plus 8. So there's our slope-intercept form. Okay? And last form here, standard form. Get the x and y on the same side of the equal sign. So this negative 3/4 right here, let's undo this by saying plus 3/4 x plus 3/4 x. And we're going to end up with y plus 3/4 x equals, and the 8 drops down. And there's your standard form. Okay? And last up, again, it's up to you to go ahead and check. If you plug in the 4 in for the x and a 5 in for the y, and if that 3/4 scares you there, change it to a decimal. 3/4 is the same thing as 0.75. Okay? Do the math in the calculator, it should equal 8. If you checked the other ordered pair, 8 and 2, so the 8 would go into the x, the 2 would go into the y, it should also equal 8 on the other side. Okay, so in the end, again, all three forms appear here. Point slope, which goes into this area, and again, you can just draw an arrow. Slope intercept, which goes into that box, and then standard form, which goes into the box right there. Okay, so all three forms represent the same thing, just written in a different form. So what you're going to do here is continue on, keep practicing the different types of problems on converting them into all three forms here. There is no summary here, it's just making sure that you have the correct sequence. The easiest sequence you have here is in this order: slope, point slope, slope intercept, standard form, and then you will check. So go ahead and keep continuing. We just did one classwork problem with you. We did number 2 already. So you know that that one is checked off for you, so you know you're good. Go ahead and log on to your answers so you can make sure you're doing this correctly along the way. All right, good luck, and be sure to be asking questions. Bye.